Well, welcome to this month's tabletop conversation. You made it to the month of May. Can you believe it's May already? Welcome, everyone. This is Robert.
Hussein.
And Sandra.
And Suzanne.
And Christina.
Yes. And we're
With
here.
the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yes.
Yeah. Roll
We're
call.
here saying hello and welcome to the fecundity of May. Everyone's itching to get into the garden. It probably has been in the garden, and it's been a very wet,
Pretty
late
cold.
April and early May. And cold, but that's just part of it, isn't it? I think you're going to enjoy this month's Long Spoon. Formats have changed a little bit. You'll notice a couple areas where there are galleries of images, which we thought would be fun to see. And on your devices, you can expand it so you can read more easily the text around the collaged images, which is wonderful. I mean, you can still read them, but it just makes it a little easier. And let's see.
And I think we want to talk a little bit about the use of collage, because collage with words, and because it's part of the conversation with our daily lives, and so we collect, pictures together that are in conversation, and then we listen to them. It's not really any kind of way of directiveness. It's a kind of way of sharing and hearing and allowing the daily conversation of our lives to come in to a reflection in these collages.
And with the images,
We find them really valuable to us.
and with the images being digital, and we talk about the digital life. We're talking about digital in terms, obviously it has a reference to the electronic media, but also the digits, the little fingers on the ends of your hands that are used to help move the earth in your garden, and to touch a flower, and to work with the soil. And so the digit has a double meaning for us. So when we digitize our life, not only are we archiving it and sharing it, but also it's really a hands-on living.
Well, and it's for, I think also, you look in your photos, and you have gobs of photos of all kinds of times.
I love that word, gobs.
And you really, they're just photos. But if you do a collage and you intuitively gather the photos, from the present or the past or it's like they all they're there because it's the intuitive part of you that's talking. So it'll put one image that's related to another image, and then it'll put another image that you didn't even know was related. And all at once you have this conversation, and you have this meaning. And I think in here where we did all the collages about doing the garden, and I worked with them at the end of every day, it's like it brought it all to life, our intention of what we were doing. And it deepened it, so we understood with the intention of working with a sacred space within the garden. We started understanding that we were working with angles and arcing angles, and we were crossing over, and it was a bigger depth, and so much it allows a bigger depth to the simplicity in the daily life. And actually that's most of our lives. So if we can't let that part talk, then there's very little conversation between ourselves and our daily life. And so a lot of our life can be absolutely meaningless to us. And even if you have a day where it's not been exactly easy, you do a collage that like different things together, it may actually make it really an essential insight. And so we did that with the garden this year, and I think you'll love them because it's what one does in a garden that's more than just, building beds or weeding and all that. All those things are an interaction with Gaia and yourself with Gaia. and also your soul reach with Gaia. So I hope you take time to read the collages and think about that whole process, because it may be something that you want to explore in your life, your photographs, and the meaningfulness of old pictures and new pictures, and your present,
How they fold together.
how they fold together,
Yeah.
and it gives you another layer, and you get a chance to do what we call four dirt deep and wide, and it's like going down, down, down into the real inner depths of why we even come here to live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to speak on
Oh,
that
It's
for a
that
love
deep
minute.
that.
mystery that you're talking about, the digital entering the deep mystery. And I love how you talked about that, because the collages, to me, in those conversations that those pictures in the collages provide, that conversation provides a perspective that gives some distance, that you can actually
Oh, I love
see
that.
your life. Like you were
Mhm.
saying, that's been the greatest gift for me, is that in the middle of living, and you're up close, you're in the middle of it, you don't get that perspective, you don't get the distance that you can find at the meaning and the matter of your life. And those pictures and those collages that create that conversation, that allow that kind of perspective and distance, to all of a sudden you're starting to realize, oh, I was just doing a day, I was doing what I thought were the menial things in that day that were required or needed, but I was actually moving depth of myself, depth of the world, depth of mystery, depth of intention, and I got to see it in front of me in this collage, in the pictures, and that I couldn't see when I was up close inside of it, in that moment. So
See how much
it's been
life
amazing.
is lost when you only have a spiritual practice or a deepening of awareness only on a certain day.
Yeah. Right.
Like people in the world, they go to some kind of church or service or things, but when then they come out of there, the whole rest of it is lost to that,
Yeah.
because it's hard to keep up with. But the more you keep up with that conversation, and the more you make the simplicity of your life part of that conversation, and the desire to hear from your own soul's reach in every moment, then there's nothing you do that doesn't mean something, and you're really living.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
so
for a lot of
true.
people, they're only living between.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and I love how much you've captured about the garden, and how that really, I mean, talk about an entry point for entering the deep mystery, because it's like you've got your hands in the soil of where it all starts and where it all begins, and where it ends, and but it's just it's like to watch something go from seed to its full cycle and everything. It's like, if you're not sure where to start with entering the deep mystery, I love how the garden opens that and you've
Oh.
shared that so beautifully
Well said.
with the collages and the words and everything. But it's like, what an awesome place to start.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a huge part of all of our lives, is the garden.
It is. We work with the
Even in the
concept,
winter.
the garden
Yeah.
plan. Yeah, even in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
In order to expand our um, our power in the world, to expand the intention of creating balance and supporting love and compassion and balance, you can make that like only on this time or only on this level, but you can go so deep that it's on every level, and we've done that with the concept that we call the garden plan.
Mm-hmm.
That we not only work with our daily lives and our love of Gaia and the flowers, but then we move to maybe our community, that we want to support the whole community. So it keeps growing till it's the whole world.
Mm-hmm.
And then parts of your garden are actually helping every day, making you aware of the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a consciousness in the garden that is always holding love and compassion for the Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
or love and compassion for all of the countries in the world that are dealing with this. And then you can move it to uh, uh, helping uh, certain communities of the world. It's your
Mhm.
consciousness, it's your
Right.
choices.
And helping the love and compassion for yourself.
Yes.
And all in the
Right.
whole same process. But there's that micro and macrocosm that
Yes.
happens. I know what you're saying.
And you can intention it.
Incredible.
And in that intention, it will hold space.
Mm-hmm.
It actually can hold space for the something in your garden you could have where you hold space for the people you love. And in that space, when you work in that space and you weed it or you till it up or you sit with it, that's what's happening with the people you love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a way of supporting. It just depends on the macro,
Yeah.
micro that you want to take in into your life.
That's so true. And we talked about, I think we talked last month a little bit about it, that in understanding or recognizing about the quantum field and realizing that we are not separate from that we are part of it, then that means that everything that we are doing affects that field, no matter how many millions of miles away it is, thousands of miles, light years away. We are part of that, and our intentioning, and as we set our frequency with our intention of what we want to align with the garden, with flowers, with Gaia, with the mycelial network, then we are becoming part of that tapestry in the field and influencing it.
Yes.
We're deciding, we're choosing what we want to put into the field, what we want to resonate with, that will have a ripple effect for years and miles, and that we
Oh,
can't
that's
even
wonderful.
know.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I'm so impressed and love that in this month's Alchemical Long Spoon, that there's so much about the tree gemmos and the wooded way, because you've included and talked about that connectivity between the trees and what they share with us, what they reveal to us about the deep mystery that we then take in and then resonate out into the field, the greater field, so that change actually can happen and
And
transformation.
And I loved how you called, gemmos or buds.
Yeah, yeah.
That have all the blueprint in it. And I loved how you referred in the long spoon as buddyle blueprints.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. That was so
I mean, that is
good.
so, if you have to describe what a gemmo is, I think that's pretty awesome.
Oh.
I think it's so easy to feel insignificant or feel like in the light of so much that needs to change, that we all are becoming more awake to in our world, that it's easy to feel very small and powerless and insignificant. But when you take it to that level and realize that you can make such a difference just on our postage stamp of a garden, or your little deck of a garden, or whatever you have in your world, you can change the field. You can change the quantum field, but just by your intention. And then all of a sudden you're not so small. And I just have really been taking that in this month.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really true.
And that's actually the part of the healing and principal patterns, why they're mycelial,
Yeah,
is they're working on all
that
of those
level.
levels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've had a new perspective about mycelial, especially the last couple of weeks when we've been working with clearing the garden,
Uh-huh.
raking, doing all that type of stuff, checking to see where things are coming up, which I have loved doing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something that keeps happening, and I've noticed it in the front yard and the back, is exposed roots. Tree
Of
roots.
flowers? Oh, tree roots.
Tree roots. And that is something at one point I would have either tripped over, ignored, or tried to chop.
Oh.
And I have a totally new respect for those roots. It doesn't matter if they're exposed, and we've got plenty in different places, and I just have become very respectful and honoring of those roots, and have
Oh,
no
that's
desire
beautiful.
to have any of them chopped up or cut back or whatever. They're just should be allowed.
Well, it's like we have every limb and stick that comes off of our trees, or we find, are just eloquent pieces of art.
Uh-huh.
And
They
we
are.
love that we use them all along the fence line,
Mhm.
and the birds love them
They love that.
because they're tall,
Yeah.
and the birds come and sit on them. They come right down into the garden. It's like their little above landing place, and it's just so joyful.
And what a drastic change it was.
Yeah.
The difference between when those branches weren't there.
Oh
compared
yes,
to when they were,
Right.
then all of a sudden they were up against the fence. And those, I mean, a ton of birds started coming.
they just
Tons.
love that. They
Mhm.
play.
do, they love it.
They jump off those. It is so cute,
And the squirrels.
Yeah,
All
and
love
the
jumping from
squirrels.
one to-
and it's beautiful. It's like they're beautiful on the tree, and they're beautiful afterwards
Yeah.
too.
And the
This-
like you said, the mosses and
Yes.
continued growing on branches that we.
Oh, that's
collected.
right.
I mean, they are as we were moving things today, I
Uh-huh.
noticed more and more, textures coming up on the branches, on the barks, and of all the sticks. And that means they're still alive.
Oh,
They're still
that
growing
is so
on those.
true.
There is a total ecosystem in
Yeah.
our backyard, in the
Mhm.
garden. It's a
And-
whole habitat that did not exist
It did
before
not.
living here.
17 years ago when we moved in here, this was a very sad
Oh.
space.
Barren.
And
Barren, yeah.
it was mostly driveways and
Trash.
No
and
birds.
and old things in the backyard.
Mhm.
And we made walkways because there was a lot of glass and
Mhm.
a lot of trash in the backyard, and we cleaned it up as much as we could. But finally, we made a wooden walkway, so that we didn't have to continue working with that.
Mhm.
And then it was just there were absolutely no birds.
No.
No birds came to the garden when we first came
Wow.
here.
Yeah.
What a difference.
I know it.
Now it's their haven.
Now it is.
It's the Raven Haven.
Yes. All the little small birds are just like in and outside of everything.
And building little nests
Those
in
little
the
chickadees.
quince.
And we positioned ourselves where we sit among them.
Yeah.
We have all these different spaces. And when you work with a garden, you can say, well, this is my backyard. Or when you work with your garden, you can say, this is my temple. And you can build spaces like we've done. And then Robert's done these wonderful beams that go up, very oriental looking, that square out around different spaces, and they're different temples.
Yeah.
For us, there's a yoga area, and then there's a little what do you call it,
Cafe.
the Sunshine Cafe? Somebody did,
Mhm.
and then we have the temple where we sit and talk, and we have classes there, and we have breakfast together in the morning or dinner, and we just but it's sacred to us, and then we now have a new tented area for us to have meals and be with family, and it's just it's really neat when you see all those spaces as sacred.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then they become little worlds
Yeah.
that you can sit in and meditate in, and it makes a difference than, oh, this is my backyard.
Right.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there's how many temples now? 4 temples
Yeah.
Mhm.
on 0.15 acreage.
Mhm.
That's pretty awesome.
In the garden and
Each of them have ways for flowers to climb and just
Yeah.
adorn the whole thing. Each one.
I loved how you said that, because part of one of those themes in this month is about the cathedral climb, and when you intention a garden and structures in it that allow for that climb,
Oh.
for things, there all kinds of things in nature love to climb, and so there's roses and vines that climb, and there's beans that climb, and there's morning glories and
Nasturtiums.
nasturtiums, and there's all kinds of things that love to climb, and
Tomatoes
they
and-
reflect that
Cathedral.
that cathedral climb, and it's
Oh my
that
gosh,
as
that's so
above
great.
so below, and we're talking about the deep mystery, and I think you have to climb to that mystery above and below.
Oh my gosh,
And
I love
you
that.
know, just I always thought it was something that you dive deep for, and it is, but it's the same. You go just as high up for it as well, and I'm just learning about that just because nature is revealing it. You know, as I watch that in the garden and see that happen, there's just as much mystery above as there is below.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm just
One
really
of my
excited about
most,
that.
I think one of the most magical things too during this our spring
Uh-huh.
cleanup is as we've been moving all the buckets and the dirt and everything, and in the dirt has survived these red bean runner.
Oh,
seeds.
yes.
The seeds, they are perfectly intact, almost as if you just took them out of the pod. But these seeds have made it through the entire winter
Under
unscathed,
feet of snow.
under
and-
snow and ice and rain and mud, and here they are. They just show up like little shiny little
gems.
gems, and you pick them up and you hold their resilience in your hand, and you
Oh,
realize
that's
the
beautiful.
potential of their cathedral climb, and you feel it. In the,
But that
in the
resilience
seeds. It's,
is
like, amazing.
reflected in the plant itself, what it gives off.
Yeah.
I remember an Indian man talking about that if you wanted to make your herbal tinctures and your essences, that that you need some plants that have really had to struggle to be where they are. That they would get like a sage. If they wanted a sage, they would get a sage that really had grown in not the best of conditions, but was able to grow. That sage carries that
I love
resilience.
that.
Wow.
I never
And
heard
that those really are some of the finest healer plants, is to use the plants that have they've gone beyond, but they've had to struggle in different areas.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's
So
just
it'll
amazing.
be amazing
Cool.
planting those this year.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
and having
Mhm.
that energy in our
Oh,
garden.
yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's just really
Well, that's
cool.
the red bean,
Truly robust.
red bean runner.
Yeah, red bean runner.
So I think we should make a flower essence
Mhm.
that is
Oh,
just
yeah,
that by
the
itself,
luminary.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
a
Thank you,
luminary.
Yeah.
That would be really powerful.
For sure.
Yeah, I like that
I love
idea.
that story.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, it's not a story, but it's truth. True story.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we've had to work with in the garden this year.
So as you go down through the long spoon this month, and again, as with all the months, going through them, it's going to be more than one look through. There's so much content that we share that you
But
can
we've
go,
shared the book Soul.
uh-huh, the book Soul, and then also the Wilderness Within.
Mm-hmm. Both really books that are resilient.
Mhm.
They're they speak of from a point of resilience. Yeah.
And we've given you multiple pages, like maybe 20 pages out of the book that you can just see directly in the long spoon, but also with each book you can click the button that says click to open book, and it'll take you to blurb where you can then preview, but it's the entire book, so you could read and look
Yeah,
at
we've
and
not
enjoy.
limited the preview space,
No.
so you know you have the
Make the whole
opportunity
book
to make it
available.
10 pages, and that's all. But all of ours are open to a full read.
A full read. So, and then a reminder that you'll see the Alchemical Read magazine flip book that's here.
Yeah, we're now
this
sharing that with a long
Yeah.
spoon.
So, and just as a reminder that in addition to the long spoon, if you come out of that tab on the website and go, you can go over to the flip books, where you can see it's a weekly magazine. So, and there's a lot of content in there, and you can stay current with what alchemy is going on during the week. So,
yeah, it's
That's
current
cool.
to our
it's very
time.
current.
Yeah.
So in addition to the long spoon for the month of May, you can go over to the tab with the flip books, and I think because there's usually about maybe 10 or 12 flip books per tab, we've gone through flip book 1, 2, and now we're in flip book 3, and so those are the latest ones, and you can go there and catch up.
And luckily, you all have put the latest one, and you've embedded it into this long spoon.
Yes,
Right?
yeah,
So
it's into
it'll
this
be
long
there
spoon.
to
Yeah, well,
click on,
yeah,
and it's right there.
yeah. I think it's the
We do 4
previous
months.
week or so. Yeah, we do 4 magazine issues a month.
It's quite a job.
Yeah.
It really is.
But they're beautiful. They are
Sure
really
are.
wonderful. So, is there anything else that we want to talk about with the content this month? I think we covered. Well, obviously there's the creative child
Yes,
section,
yeah.
and you'll see the collages for this month that apply to the alchemy and the energy of May.
Hmm.
Um,
And then Christine and Suzanne always do a blog, Gabriel
Mhm.
Sound, and then
and
Sandra
then
always
Sandra's
does a blog
Stitch in
also,
Time blog.
and they're wonderful,
Yeah.
and that really includes the whole community.
And then, as you will obviously see, there's a lot of video.
Oh,
this
I know
issue.
we didn't talk
Oh,
about.
what didn't we talk about?
An exciting thing we're doing. Number one is that we've done about 4 videos featuring the show that we did in 2017,
Oh yeah.
and that show is called the Tree of Life, the Wooded Way.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the most wonderful shows to do. Each show takes a year to bring the whole embodiment of it. And we live inside of it. We live
Mhm.
inside of it as a family and community. And all the art pieces are connected. And that show is fabulous because in this show we have the Tree of Life, we have the Fey Realm, we have the Gemo sculptures, pieces.
Mhm.
And so there's videos showing everything there in the
Can't wait.
that you can look at all the pieces close up. And then we also have a whole area that we're talking about some of the ways that we work that we thought might be interesting to share. We are sharing about Asamic writing. This is a kind of a digital form of writing that we do and explains, we'll talk about it. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a part of the writing that people it's not really words, it's almost digital, it's shapes,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also do an automatic drawing, and we talk about how we do that. We show 4 or 5 videos of us doing that and the joy of working with art in that kind of way, and we talk about that process. And then also we talk about the automatic writing that we do, that really creates the flip books,
Mm-hmm.
and what that's like. We usually that's really fun to share, and so it's kind of that the practice of some of the unusual ways that we come to our art are shared more deeply in this one.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
we're at
Well,
28 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else anybody wanted to add?
I'm excited.
Covered it
Can't wait to
all.
see it.
It's
To see
it's
everything.
an amazing. What is it? 122 pages.
Yeah.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's really-
it covers all the senses, and there's videos and audios and books and reading and images and words, and you've covered it all. It's amazing.
And we're very grateful to all of
Yes.
you that
Yeah.
get the
for
long
Thank you for
spoon.
Very
participating.
grateful.
You're not a huge crowd, but you are the best,
Yeah.
because this is providing us
Your
with
quality.
the income to actually have Squarespace
Mhm.
and have us also be able to pay for the different things that we use in our work. That Squarespace, what else?
And
Issue
Issue,
program, so we
Which
can
we
make
create
flip
the
books.
flip books from. We have to pay for all those things,
Mhm.
and
Ways to get
that-
things out. You know,
yeah,
Mhm.
so
ways that we can share.
to share with you. So it provides the money for that,
Mhm.
and we're very, very grateful
Yes,
for that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we hope
Absolutely.
you
Thank
come
you.
often. I know
Mhm.
finding time is like this wicked thing in this world that we don't quite know what to do with time, and when we have it, that we don't even know what to do it when we do have it.
Mm.
And it's hard sometimes to remember all the different areas, but hopefully you come here and you nurture yourself with this, and you get some solace, and it supports your sovereignty. And that was the intention of the exchange. And
I love that.
and so a lot of you are friends and family, and family is so, we're so grateful for our family to even not only support us but share in some of the things and the beauty that we dedicate our lives to. That feels so, it's something you can't expect, but when it happens, it's such a rich gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you, one and all, for coming to May's Alchemical Long Spoon, and enjoy. Come back to it over and over throughout the month. It will support and nurture you, and that's our hope.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
thank you. And we will stop for now and enjoy the long spoon.